Ooh, we've got a good one for you today, guys. We're going to be unboxing a Mick Strider Custom knife. Now, this is not the first Mick Strider Custom knife I've ever owned. I've actually owned a bunch, but I sold them all. And I have not had a custom Mick Strider in a little while. Oh, man, what do we got going on here? On the flap there. I don't know. Kind of freaked out for a minute. The outside... I'm just a little paranoid. I've seen a lot of posts recently about knives getting stolen, and I have this one coming, which is pretty expensive, and so it made me a little bit nervous. I was also hoping that this would come with like an SOE pouch or something, but it didn't. So what do we got here? We got a cool sticker though. That's awesome. That's cool. I haven't even seen that sticker. So yeah, no SOE pouch, which, you know, is okay. I don't know if these came with it or not, but a lot of the times they do. Oh wow, it didn't even come in a tactical baggie. Luckily, I've got a lot of extra tactical baggies. Now, why this is wrapped in saran wrap, I have no idea. Sometimes people's idea of good packaging is a little weird, because this prevents no amount of protection from theft. Somebody would just pull this out and take it, right? I think the idea here is that by making it difficult to fully unwrap, but it doesn't matter, somebody would just take this whole thing, take it home, and open it up on their leisure. But anyways, doesn't matter. Saran wrap, that's a new one. Saran wrap around the actual knife itself inside the packaging. But it was nice and cushioned, so it's not rattling around, protected. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Woo, sheesh. Look at that. Yes, sir. Now, I know this is not everybody's cup of tea. This is not, you know, everybody's favorite knife or favorite configuration. Some people think it's a little out there. For me, it's perfect. It takes everything that I love about Striders, kind of the, I don't know, man, just that, that thing about the Striders that I love so much, just like this one. I love the flaming. I love the contrast here. There's a couple cool things about this knife I'm going to talk about here in a minute, and you can see them, but I just want to talk about them. It takes all that, but adds a little bit of bling and a little bit of flavor to it, right? It's not just your normal kind of Strider knife. You can see the signature right there, M Strider. One critique on Mick Strider Customs is it doesn't ever list the blade steel, and it doesn't come with anything that indicates the blade steel. So you've got to do a little bit of sleuthing and a little bit of, kind of trying to figure out what kind of steel was used in that particular knife, which is a little frustrating. It's always good steel, but you never know if it's, CV, CTS XHP, 154CM, CPM 154CM, or what exactly the steel is on the Customs. Wow, look at that. That is cool. So what do we have here? Let's talk about the handles. Ooh, you thought I was going to talk about the blade. We're going to talk about the handles. So this basically has, essentially the performance titanium handles, right? They just don't do this extra milling. They don't do this pocket. They do this reversible pocket clip, screws right here, so you can carry it left-handed if you want, but it's essentially a performance body that then is sent for lasering to get this Batwing logo is what this is called. These are often referred to as Batwings because of the Batwings coming out of the skull here. This is the official Mick Strider Custom Knife Batwing skull logo. This one has it on both sides. Sometimes it's only on one side. Sometimes Mick Strider Customs just like this just don't have any lasering and it's just the plain handle. So kind of depends. And then sometimes you get a clip with MSC lasered on it, and sometimes you get a plain clip. This one just came with a plain clip. Now the coolest thing is the blade. So you got this nice kind of spear point, drop pointy type blade here. I actually like how it's got this grind chamfer, or I don't know if you'd consider that a swedge. It's kind of too light to be a swedge, but maybe a swedge up here. But then you've got the black on the top, and then you've got this little swedge guy here that they call the Trezula. I'm not sure where that name comes from, but anything with this kind of offside, lockside, divot swedge type thing is called the Trezula. You got the Nightmare grind going on here on both sides, and then on the flats, this is called the Magma finish. And basically, from what I understand, what it is he puts copper or bronze slag onto the blade. So he melts copper and kind of distributes it onto the blade, which is why it's got this rough texture here. And then he does a chemical process to darken it up like this. So you can actually kind of see as it wears, some of this dark color will kind of come off and you'll get some gold coming through here. It's really, really cool. I've never seen anyone do that before in the knife world. Maybe they have, I'm not quite sure. But I think it's really cool. It's very unique, and I love the contrast between the grind lines and the magma going on there. Very, very cool. This also has the serrations right there. Absolutely sharp. The only way to get a Strider with factory serrations is in the custom, right? So none of the production Striders, performance or whatever, will ever have serrations. If you ever see one with serrations, that means it was done after the fact. But Mick Strider will sometimes do serrations on his knives. A lot of people don't like it. Like, the ones with serrations tend to be the ones going for less money and kind of sitting around. I personally think it's awesome. It's the only way to see a Strider with serrations. And I kind of like how they're big, right? Because they're hand done. They're not using like a serration machine or anything like that. They're done by hand. So very, very cool. Very performance-y in terms of action. By performance-y, I mean, you know, like the Mick Strider performance. However, one thing I've noticed on the Mick Strider Customs is they're tuned a little bit better. Like, a lot of the times on the production performance knives, the detents are a little bit on the lighter side. Some people like it. I kind of prefer a deeper, kind of stronger detent. But on the custom version, the detents are always just perfect, like just freaking spot on. So very, very cool. This is gonna be my ride or die, baby. This one is killer. Absolutely love it. Right now, I would say this is my perfect configuration. I really like it. Like I said, in my opinion, I know it's not for everybody, even for people that are into Striders, this isn't their favorite. They don't like the lasering. It's a little gaudy. It's a little much. They don't like the magma with the satin flats. Once again, same thing. It's a little much. For me, it's not. I like my knives with a little flair to them, a little bling to them. And in my opinion, this kind of toes that line really, really good without going overboard, at least for me. But let me know down below, what do you think? Out of these two, since they're so similar, out of these two, barring price or, like, you know, being a custom or not, which one would you go for? Would you go for the more subdued version with just flaming and tiger stripes? Or would you go with the custom version with the lasered skull, the nightmare grind, the magma flats, all that stuff? Which one would you go for? I also like how this custom has earlier lockup. That is really, really nice. Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about early lockup? So for you young guys out there, if you're a young guy watching this video, you probably don't even know that concept of early lockup. And in fact, you may have the opposite approach where you're like, I don't want early lockup. That sounds bad, right? That means the lockup is engaging too early and it could maybe fail or something like that. Early lockup comes from knives like this, titanium on steel interfaces. And the reason for that is whenever you'd get a new knife back in the day that kind of had this simple with no lock insert kind of lockup, there would be a break-in period where it would kind of, the two surfaces would kind of meld together and form together. And as that happens, the lock bar would kind of move in a little bit as it settled in and started to mate with that lock face. And so you wanted an early lockup because you knew after using it and playing with it for a little while, it would slowly creep into perfect. Whereas if you got a knife that was like 50% out of the box, by the time it kind of settled in and made it in, it would be pretty close to the other scale. And then eventually it would kind of wear in enough that it would hit that other scale and you would no longer have good lockup on there. Some of this is also carryover from back in the way back days when Strider used to have a radius lock face. If you know Striders with radius lock faces, I know you're old and probably need to schedule your colonoscopy, because that is like really old school stuff. I remember when I was back into these way back in the day, the big change of having a straight lock face. So basically meaning let's see, maybe a better way to illustrate that's here. So basically the steel part of the lock face is angled, but it's straight. They used to be curved, you know, on a radius using like a, what do you call that? Like the drum grinder or whatever. Radius lock face. And what would happen is as the lock bar started to hit that curve up, it would start slipping down. And so that's where a lot of the quote unquote lock concerns with Striders came from, is that old, and of course it never failed, right? In fact, I would say that version was actually technically more safe than these. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic. I could talk about that whole thing forever, but it doesn't really matter. Anyways, what do you guys think? What do you think of this custom? I think it's cool. All right, catch you later.